where a lot of people get this networking situation wrong is they're focusing solely on first-degree connections. That's why the approach that I recommend is to use your second-degree connections. And second-degree connections are proven time and time again to be the actual people that get you that actual job offer.
Welcome to Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and I teach you how to get promoted, get paid, and bring your whole self to the leadership table. I am on a mission to change organizations from the C-suite out because women are the new face of leadership, and we are doing it on our terms.
Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to another episode of Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and super excited, as always, to be here with you again this week. This week, we are celebrating Thanksgiving in the United States, and I first want to honor and say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to this podcast and for following me and letting me have a small piece, a sliver of your career advice in your head. I am so grateful that I can be a part of this journey for you. And thank you to each and every one of you who have ever shared my podcast or even just shared what you've learned in my podcast. And thank you to those of you who have put the words that I have shared on my podcast to use, right? Who are actually doing the work. You are the women who we need at the leadership table. And I am so grateful to be on this journey with each and every one of you. So thank you. And as we get into Thanksgiving, you might be feeling this end of the year crunch, right? Feeling super busy at work or super busy in your life. And you might be feeling like, hey, the finish line is right there. It's so close. I just need to muscle through these next few weeks and get her done. And then on the other side is like a nice, relaxing nap that I'm going to take for a couple of weeks afterwards. And if that's you, that is totally fine. But if you still have those lingering goals, something on your mind that you would like to accomplish or would have liked to have accomplished, namely, find a new higher level leadership role, if that's still on your mind and it's something that you wish you had accomplished, but now you're sort of feeling stuck, like you're running out of time, and maybe you should just wait until 2026 because there aren't as many job opportunities at this time of year, or you're just exhausted and you can't deal with it anymore. Today's episode is meant to be your motivation and your focus for what you can actually accomplish between now and the end of the year, because there is a lot that can still be done. And not only is there a lot that can still be done, I am a firm believer that whatever you do now, it can actually come to fruition in 2025. It's not something that you're doing now that might make you have a job opportunity next year. No, you could do the work now. You could find your next best role. You could get promoted at your organization, even though they've already done end of the year performance reviews. You could still set yourself up for that next promotion, and it could happen sooner than you think. And when those opportunities become available, that's when you start to switch your mind. And so I work with women every single day who are making opportunities happen for themselves in an unbelievable, surprising, you're never going to believe this, Stacy, kind of way. And so that is totally available to you. And I also want to let you know that I have heard from many different women that recruiters are also starting to reach out to them more. It means more job opportunities are starting to become available in certain markets. And so you want to be able to capitalize on those opportunities that are still available to you. And guess what? If the rest of the world is sleeping during the holidays, but you're out there interviewing, then you're going to be the one that actually secures that higher level leadership role. But again, I acknowledge that this time of year, motivation to continue with your career search or continue to advocate for your promotion is like next to nothing. So I get it. And so I'm going to give you 3 simple things that you can begin to do right now that are going to help you stay motivated. But more importantly, they're going to give you a really big benefit in return, right? So, you know about the 80-20 rule where you can do something at 20% that is going to have 80% of the results. So it can be something very small that you do that is going to create a very big result. A great example of this on the opposite side is, let's say, applying for jobs on LinkedIn. So you're going to have to apply for 100 jobs on LinkedIn in order to get maybe 2 interviews, right? I mean, that sounds pretty grim, but it's might actually be true, right? You apply for hundreds of jobs to get a very teeny tiny amount of interviews, and then who even knows where those interviews are going to lead. Whereas if you have one really strong connection that makes an introduction for you and then they create a role for you, well, that interview process was not only easier, but you only needed one of them, right? So putting your energy in the right direction is so, so key and so important. But here's the thing, it also is motivating. When you're putting your energy in the right direction, you feel motivated to do more. You're not very motivated when you send out hundreds of job applications and it's not working. That's not motivating. But when you're doing something, you're actually getting a benefit or it's turning into a job interview or even better, job invites, right? Like actually getting offers, then you feel good about it. You feel motivated and you want to do more. And that more can be available to you right now. I am telling you, I have had clients that have proceeded with their job search all the way through to the end of the year. And this past year, just in 2025, I had 2 clients and their start date was January 8th because they got those job offers the last week of 2024. And so that is absolutely available to you right now. But you have to keep going. You have to lift your head up. You have to focus on, work smarter, not harder. You have to focus on what's most important, where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. All right, so here's a few things that I think you can do to not only stay motivated, but that could really help you on your job search. The first thing I want you to do is I would like you, if you're one of those people that carves out time to look on LinkedIn for job opportunities, I want you to go on LinkedIn and I want you to take some of those dream job opportunities. So, not the jobs that you're actually going to apply for, but the jobs that look really cool. Those dream jobs, like maybe they're a level up from where you're at currently, maybe they're 2 levels up from where you're at currently, but they get you very, very excited. All right. So whatever the motivational, not the practical jobs, not the jobs you think you can get, not the jobs with 100,000 people applying for them, but those like jobs that kind of push your button and you're like, oh, that would be nice. Right. So I want you to spend some time searching for those types of jobs every single week between now and the end of the year. Just a little bit of time searching for those types of jobs. All right. Then I want you to read that job description and I want you to pull out a piece of paper and I want you to write down the qualities inside that job description. What were the things that lit you up, that got you on fire, that you were excited about? Okay, so you're going to write down those qualities. That's going to become your wish list, so to speak. And then I want you to write down, and maybe you could just draw a line. Like if you're just writing down, then you can draw a line down the middle of the piece of paper. On the right-hand side, I want you to think about ways that you've already done some of those things. Now, there are going to be some things that you've never done before in that job description, but there's going to be some qualities, some skills, some technical abilities that you're pretty darn good at already and that you have experience or you've had wins in before. Because I believe that if we see it, it's because we are it. right? And if you see a job description that feels motivating, that's pulling you, it's because you are that person. You've done this before, right? You're capable of being in that type of role. And then I just want you to just write this wish list down. Now, if you want to take it one step further and you want to update your resume or your LinkedIn profile to include some of these keywords, then great. But as soon as you start taking this dream world and putting it into the practical world, I know for a fact it sucks your energy. So keep it simple. Keep it in the realm of your wish list if you like. If you feel motivated, put it into writing. But I tell you, even just doing this exercise and thinking about what qualities you want in your next role are going to help you continue to find those types of opportunities. The other thing that you're going to do is that organization, you're going to follow those people, you're going to follow that company, you're going to look for things that company is doing online and just be interested in them. Just follow them, because if it's out there, if this job opportunity is out there, then that means that there's something else that you can lean into as well. All right. So that's the first thing that you're going to do, is just remind yourself of who you are, what you're capable of, and get a little bit into that fantasy world so that then you can turn that fantasy into a reality. The second thing I'd love for you to do before the end of the year is get 2 new recommendations on LinkedIn. If your recommendations on LinkedIn are like from 2018 or before, it is time for you to get 2 new ones. And this opportunity is a great chance for you to reach out to some of your network. Now, guess what? This is the season of giving, right? People want to write you a letter. I'm telling you, they would love to write you a recommendation. I know it could seem like they're just as busy or they're traveling. Well, guess what? If they're traveling, then they might have time to write you a recommendation. Plus, it gives you the opportunity to get in front of them again, to talk to them about how their leadership has been very impactful and meaningful to you, and how you want to continue to reciprocate that relationship, right? And in the spirit of giving, you can actually give 2 people a recommendation as well, right? It doesn't have to be the same people who give you a recommendation. You can spread the love. And I'm telling you, when a recruiter goes to your LinkedIn profile and they see recommendations from 2018, it makes it seem like you're not active, that you're not an avid person in the workplace, right? And you want to seem like you're building relationships, that you have a network, that you care about your career, and that you mean business, right? That you're a corporate badass, and corporate badasses have recommendations within the last couple of years, right? So you want to show up like that. And then it should be fun, right? It should be fun to get to reconnect with somebody that meant a lot to you in your past. And I recommend doing this even if you're not actively searching for a job or applying for a job, because even if you get all of these assets in order ahead of time, then it's going to make it so much easier when the time comes and you have to go out and find a job, right? So you're setting yourself up ahead of time, and it's a great opportunity to reconnect. So speaking of reconnecting, now we're going to go into number 3. So I already talked a little bit about this fruitless effort of applying for 100 jobs online. And what you are going to do instead of focusing on the algorithm and focusing on all your keywords. And now I agree to a point that this is incredibly important and you need to do this, but it can also be very exhausting and demotivating to do this type of work, because you don't know if it works or not, and it doesn't seem to have that immediate benefit. But what does have an immediate benefit a lot of times is that person that you know. So I talked about one connection could be the thing that makes the difference between you actually making it to the final round and then to a higher level leadership position and a job offer that you actually want, is a single person, right? A single person in your network. But where a lot of people get this networking situation wrong is they're focusing solely on first degree connections. That's why the approach that I recommend is to use your second degree connections. And second degree connections are proven time and time again to be the actual people that get you that actual job offer, that get you that door, that open the door for you is that second degree connection. So, I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how you can motivate yourself through using your second degree connections to not only create new job opportunities for you, but to have an even better opportunity on the other side because technically you co created it together versus you and the algorithm, right? Which who knows how that's going to turn out. Okay. If you're listening to this and you want to learn more about how to use your second degree connections, then I invite you to download my free guide to getting more executive level interview invites to even getting in the door. And you can download this free PDF at stacymayer.com/invites. That's stacymayer.com/invites. It's going to explain to you my entire second degree connections process, and I'm going to explain some of that to you right now. So, what I recommend doing between now and the end of the year is I want you to reach out to people who actually care about you, right? Like people you have a relationship with. These aren't cold connections on LinkedIn, people that you know pretty well. Maybe you've actually talked to them in the last year and you just want to reconnect with them before the end of the year. This is going to be so, so important because at this time of year, it can seem, again, like everybody is so busy, but people really do like having a normal conversation. They like a breath of fresh air. They like engaging and connecting and reconnecting. And so when you can reach out to your network of people who actually really like you and build those relationships or rekindle those relationships, it can be very fruitful. Now, I want to remind you that I have a 15-minute ally building process, right? And the first part of that 15-minute ally building process is that these meetings are only 15 minutes. So you're not reaching out to these beloved connections and then telling them that they need to help you find a job. This is not what we're doing. Instead, you're going to just call them and ask them about their year. Say, how are things going? I read on LinkedIn, sounds like you're doing really great. And I want to reconnect with you. I want to see what's going on, right? Like whatever that might be that has to do with them. In last week's podcast episode, I talked about the whole what's in it for them strategy, right? And you want to make sure that whenever you're having these types of networking conversations, that it's not all about you, that it's about them. You want to connect with them. Now, the great thing is that the conversation will turn over to asking you what you need, how you're doing, how's your job search going, how is your job currently? Like whatever it is about your life that you want to share with them, they usually reciprocate and open the door for you as well. And then you can have an opportunity to ask them for an introduction to a second degree connection. Now, this is not actually what you're going to say, but that's the purpose of it, right? You need to get one step removed because the chances of your first degree connections actually having a job opportunity for you are like next to none, right? Like that's what we wish would happen. And it does happen sometimes. And if you're building allies all year round and you're always interviewing and you're having these conversations, guess what? It's going to happen a lot sooner. But between now and the end of the year, I think it would be super cool if you met with some of these really nice, friendly connections, easy connections, and ask them to introduce you to other easy, cool executive leaders. You see where I'm going? To introduce you to just someone else who's like them. Not someone else who's hiring, not someone else who needs me in a job, but someone else who's like them that you could meet. And by like them, I mean like at the VP level or above, who does interesting work, like whatever that might be, that it seems like, is there somebody else that you would like to introduce me to? Is there another cool leader at your organization that I should be meeting? Do you know anybody who works at this company who would be interesting for me to meet with? Anything, like just open the door to a second degree connection. You're looking for them to put your name out there and to actually say, hey, I know this cool person, you're a cool person, and I think the two of you guys should meet. That's it. That's what you're doing. And as long as that other person that you're meeting is not like at a peer level, but is actually in a position of influence and power, guess what? They might actually have a job opportunity for you. You're expanding your network. And at the end of the year, it is really fun to meet with people. And it's really fun to like have just those side conversations, those easier conversations that aren't about pitching yourself or saying, tell me about yourself or what job are you looking for, but just like things that matter to you in your work, in your industry, in terms of leadership, and listening to them and things that matter to them in terms of their leadership and things that they've been thinking about, what they're thinking about putting in place next year. And the great news is that when you start to do this, you're building trust with these executive leaders. And you never know, they could actually have an opportunity for you right now. You never know. They could have a second degree connection that they are thinking of that actually has a job opportunity for you right now by the end of 2025. Because I am telling you, people have budgets that they're trying to fill. They have job recs that they're trying to put together and fill. Otherwise, they're going to lose them before the end of the year. Now is an opportunity to get across the finish line. And other people aren't doing this. They're waiting, they're napping, they're exhausted, they're tired of all the BS. Which is basically usually like, I'm tired of applying to jobs on LinkedIn because it sucks. So don't do that. And so I encourage you, if you're listening to this episode, to begin to really take ownership of your motivation, your self-motivation. What are you going to do to stay motivated, to remember what are those dream qualities, and how are you already doing that right now? Reconnect, update your LinkedIn profile by getting a couple of new recommendations, fresh new recommendations on there for the new year. And most importantly, start connecting and utilizing second degree connections so that you can finally land that higher level leadership position that you are ready for. Download my free PDF at stacymayer.com/invites. That's stacymayer.com/invites. And otherwise, I wish you an incredible Thanksgiving. And if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, I wish you an incredible, incredible journey into the month of December because we have so much more work to do. And there are so many opportunities available for you. And I want you to be able to capitalize on those even before 2026. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Women Changing Leadership with Stacy Mayer. If you enjoyed this episode, you are absolutely going to love and benefit from the work that we're doing inside of the Women's Leadership Accelerator. This month-to-month membership program is unlike anything else in the market. We are single-handedly flipping the unemployment rates on their head. It is the only place on the internet where you can actually get yourself not only a job offer, but one that has a higher salary, a higher title, and more recognition and influence than you ever could have imagined in your career. Inside the Women's Leadership Accelerator, we are getting women promoted. We are getting them multiple higher level job offers. And I want that to happen for you. Join us in this one-of-a-kind program. You're going to get coaching directly from me, my executive mentors who are also hiring managers who are doing the work, who have worked with me personally for the past 3 to 5 years. We are here inside of this accelerator program to work with you personally to begin to elevate your leadership to that next level. This is exactly what you have been looking for, and I am here to deliver it to you. Best thing It's month to month. So you can come in, join us, get access to all of my training materials, my weekly live interactive calls, and you can begin to bring your friends into this community. It is the most corporate badass community on the market. I can't wait to see you in there. Go to authenticallypowerfulwomen.com. We are changing the face of the leadership table one promotion at a time. I can't wait to see you there.